Lesson 11, we are going to be working on different effects that we can add to an object. It points out in the text that effects are things that you can edit. They do not affect the underlying object, whereas if you use a filter does change the underlying object. I've opened up the end file so that we can get a picture of what the finished product will look like. And next I'm going to open the start file. We'll be working over here with the items on the side, so I'm going to get them a little bit bigger so I can see them, starting with this lemon down in the bottom. Grab the star tool and just click on the page to get the menu. And what you're going to be putting in here is 80 points and 14.5 points, and then we'll put 12 points in for this bottom choice and click OK. You come up with a star that looks like this. I'm going to take my selection tool and move it on top of this lemon half. You want to be sure that you end up with a straight line up on the top of the lemon. Now with it on top, we're going to select just this inner yellow piece of the lemon, and then shift click and select the star. Go to Object and group those two objects together. The the Effect menu, Pathfinder, and Subtract, and that's going to take that star section out of the lemon. And then to make this a permanent change, we go to the menu word Object and Expand Appearance. So what you end up with is what looks like the little lemon rind. Continuing with our effects, select this again. We want to have this center part selected and the part that we subtracted. The effects menu, this time Distort and Transform and Roughen. Take this down to 3 on the top and up to 13 down here. Make it smooth and click OK. That's just going to add a little bit of an effect in the lemon. The effect we're going to work on next is on this outside rind, so be sure to just click the outside rind. Effect and Texture this time, and down to Grain. Take the intensity up to 49. And this one is 55. Change the grain from regular to clumped grain style. And you can see what that's going to do to the lemon rind. So that just puts a little bit of a rind part into the lemon rind. We want to group this whole thing together now, Object and Group. And then we're going to move it. I'm going to back out a little bit. We're going to move this whole thing up here on top of the top object. And we want to rotate it. And you can just kind of use the picture in the book for how much to rotate. This is on page 317. Looks like it comes up about there. So get it pretty much right where you want it. So it's on top of the other artwork. The text right beneath the lemon is the next thing we're going to put an effect to. So select it with your selection tool, the effects menu, warp, and rise. When you get to rise, you're going to change it to 93% up here. These are 0. We can always look at the preview to see what it's going to look like and click OK. Then we want to move that up kind of on top of the lemon and then bring it to the front. Oh, we're not quite through yet with what we're going to do with this. For the next step, we need to have the Appearance palette open, and that was under Window and Appearance, right there. And you can see that it's kind of divided into the different sections of what we have here. So go to this drop-down menu in the Appearance palette and say Add New Stroke. So we've got a second stroke here. That stroke is going to be 2 points. Then back into the Effects menu to the word Path, and this time we're going to go to Offset Path. Change it to 2 points. Be sure you're typing in points, otherwise it will look quite different. And click OK. Then we're going to click the word Type over here in the Appearance menu so we're sure that we're putting the effect where we want it. Effect, Stylize, and Drop Shadow. On the drop shadow, make it multiply 75. These are 4 points. And the color is going to change to the numbers are 10 for C, 50 for magenta, 75 for yellow, and 0 for K. That's going to make this orange color, and then just click OK, and that's going to put a little bit of a shadow right there. We're not quite finished with the effects on the Lots of Lemon, so click on it again. In the Appearance palette, you'll have to probably drag this down to find the drop shadow area, because that's one we just worked on. So click it to bring this up again. What we're going to change here is the opacity, and that's going to be 50%. Sorry for that little dinging. You can see that it kind of takes the orange away. Then we're going to group this together because we want this to be our logo, object, and group. And then open up your Symbols palette and drag this over into the Symbols palette. And we're going to call this Can Top. And it's going to be a graphic. Click OK. So now we have our Can Top right over there. Now we get to some of the fun stuff with the 3D effects. Choose the ellipsis tool and click on the screen to bring the menu up. We want to put in 285 points. Be sure to type in points since it will convert it for you. Let the height just happen the way it is. And I've already got mine filled with the can yellow color. but you'll have to choose that from your swatches menu, and no stroke. So we've got this can. We are going to add a 3D effect, and what I want you to do first of all, even though what we're going to do is to add the extrude and bevel, I want you to look at the revolve just to see what the revolve does. So I'll turn the preview on, and you can really see what effect it would have, and you can of course turn this to get the different angles. So cancel that one. The next one we're going to look at is the rotate. So again, we're going to turn the preview on, and this just helps you turn it to a different angle. And you're probably saying, well, this would have been so helpful in some of the things we've done, and yes, it would. Cancel that one. The one we're actually going to use is under Effect 3D and Extrude and Bevel. So click that one, turn the preview on. We can play around with rotating the box like we have in some of the others. But what we want for these numbers is 75 and minus 19 and minus, and 4. Down at the bottom here, we want this to, the extrude depth to be 75 points. And then you could play a little bit, if you would like, with this extrude and bevel drop-down menu. These add some pretty weird things to them, some of them. That one's kind of cool. And look at the difference between clicking the bevel inside and the outside. So some of these are just really very cool effects that you can put onto this shape. But we want to go back to having none. And I'm going to turn this a little bit. If you want to kind of look at the picture on page 324, we're going to try to make it look sort of like that. And I've probably messed it up, so I'm going to go back to the original numbers. It's just fun to play around with it, but sometimes you can get it way off. And 4. Okay, so now we've got our 3D object, and we'll be ready to move on to the next step. Your appearance menu shows this 3D extrude and bevel effect. So you can click on that to bring our menu back up. The next thing we want to do is to put our artwork on our object. Always be sure to turn on the preview to know what your effects are. Go to where it says Map Art. We have 3 sides of this, and the first side is where we're going to put the can top. Since we saved it as a symbol, we can bring it in here, can top. And this is where we start to take a little time. We want to scale it to fit, so that puts it inside. And of course it's going to work again to get it in there. Go to the 3 of 3 sides, and for this one we're going to put on the leaves. And you can see they're not quite the right height, so you can adjust them. And every time you do this, it's going to take a little extra time to render. I'm going to just pull it. It looks like in the book it wants it just right in that center section. No, actually, I think looking at the book, it's going to look better if we pull it out to the full length and stretch them out. I'm not sure I like it stretched that far. Click on the shade artwork at the bottom. And you might want to look at the picture on page 327 or your original file that looked at the end to see if what you're creating looks close enough to what the book was. So now we have our can. The lemons that are going to be sitting right beside our can, we are going to create. Grab your rectangle tool and click on the screen so that we can choose exactly what size we want it. 85 points by 100 points. Click OK. Now if you want to do the quick stroke, press D and that changes it back to the default colors. And then we're going to press Control 5, which just puts the guides on, or you could go into View Guides and make guides if you wanted to do it that way. So what we're doing with this, if you'll look on page 328, is just using this guide to help us draw an arc. I need the pen tool. First one I'm going to do is in the lower corner. Starting with this corner, hold the Shift key down and drag over to that corner. And then we're going to click in the top corner and drag the Shift key, hold the Shift key down to drag to this side. Now if yours arc did not come out like it's supposed to look, like mine didn't, then I'm going to just drag it to fit because I need an arc like that. We need to take the fill out, so no fill, and the stroke is going to be that can yellow that we used a minute ago. Into Effect, 3D, and this time we're going to go into Rotate. Revolve. So bring up this menu, and I've already expanded mine. You'll open yours up in just a minute. We're going to play around with what this will do. Let me get this where I can see it and turn my preview on. This is what it looks like with the left edge chosen. That's kind of a cool look. We actually want the right edge chosen, which turns it into a lemon. And it's already got the lighting on there, but you'll have to go to More Options, which was up here, and mine already is on More Options. And that opens up this box. From Plastic Shading, we're going to go to Diffuse Shading, which is a little bit lighter. You can see there is a dot here, and that is where our light source is. We want to move that kind of up close to the top. And then this is a new light source, so click that one. And that one is going to be kind of moved around this direction. You'll notice what we're doing is to make this look round. For the shading color, we want a custom. So go into Custom and click the color. And our custom color is going to be 0 for the cyan, 19 for magenta, 100% for yellow, and 50% for black. And then we want to diffuse it down to 40% for ambient light. And click OK. We're going to bring in an image that we're going to use for the texture in here. So go into File, Place, and from your class files choose Lemon Skin. We do not want it linked, so if this is checked, uncheck it and go place. And all we're going to do with this is to create a symbol out of it. And you can see I've already got mine in there, but you will drop it in and call it New Texture. Be sure you change it to a graphic. And of course it tells me it's already there. For you, you'll have to create it. And then delete this file. So we just needed that texture in there so we can put it on the surface. So on our lemon, go to 3D Revolve to bring that menu up again. Of course, turn on our preview, go to Map Art. And I believe this is on Surface 1. We're going to choose the texture, scale it to fit. We want to make it shaded. I'm on surface 1 of 1. You want the outside surface. We'll see if this one is going to be the right one. You choose that new texture from your symbols palette, scale it to fit, shade artwork, and you can see that it's going to give us a texture. So click OK and OK. Now we want a second one of these, so hold the Alt key down and drag another one. And then we're going to move them up around our can. I'll put this one up here. Bring that one to the front. And then on this one there is a little, if you go up to the top, there's the stem up here in the top. Whoop. Let me just drag that one down. I kind of messed it up. And put the stem right there. Now these are going to be grouped together. Whoops, I don't want that one. Let me get it back here. It's rendering it. Get rid of that one. Okay. Then we're going to drag this over onto our gift card. And it should be finished.